Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let us chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Ashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Let's recite Bhagavad Gita Sloka. We'll be learning a new verse today. So the last sloka that we memorized was from chapter 12, text 9. अथ चित्तं समाधातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततो मामिच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. So the next verse is 10. Please repeat. Abhyasephyasamarthosi matkarma paramo bhava mad artham api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. Abhyasephyasamarthosi matkarma paramo bhava madartham api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. Abhyasephyasamarthosi matkarma paramo bhava madartham api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. Actually, we are just memorizing all of them. We have from 8 to 12. Just one second. Because in the book it says the next one is 13 and 14, but one second. Nine. Yeah, after 9, the next one is 13, 14. So, what should we do? So, these verses, 8 to 12, are giving us a sequence. If you're so, the best is 8, 8, where just fix your mind upon me, right? That is number one. If you're not able to do that, then 9. Then you should follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. And 10 is if you're not even able to follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. And if you're not even able to work for me, then 11 is try to act, giving up the results of your work. And if you're not able to do that also, then 12 is engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge is meditation, better than meditation is renunciation of fruits of action. Like this. So I was thinking the entire sequence will be there for memorization, but there's only 8 and 9. So what should we do? Just go to 13, 14, or just memorize all of them?
We'll memorize all of them actually.
Right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Let's just do it then. So we we recited the verse. Please repeat the translation. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Okay, so now you can start reciting. Aditi Lata Mataji,
Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
अभ्यासेऽपि असमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्मा परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Arunita,
She will read little later, Mataji.
okay. Inba,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्मा परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. Translation. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Yes, India,
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
Mataji, Jai Shri Mataji.
No, Mataji, she's not here.
Isha, okay, Rasapriya, and then Isha will come. Madhava and Rasapriya, you read.
अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect state.
Yeah, go ahead.
अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage.
अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect state.
Madhava.
अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिम् अवाप्स्यसि.
Avapsyasi.
If you don't practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you'll come to the perfect state.
Yes. Arunita,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
अभ्यासेऽपि अतमर्थोऽसि
Asamarthos.
असमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमं भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् संसिद्धम् अपि
Siddhim.
सिद्धिम् अपि स्वयि
Avapsyasi.
वाप्स्यसि. Translation. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, will come to the perfect stage. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So let's read Srimad Bhagavatam. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 18, Yayati's Renunciation. King Yayati regains his youth. Sorry. King Yayati regains his youth. So we read that so yesterday we read that Devyani, after she was rescued by Yayati, she was brought out of the well, and then from there she went home, and she complained to her father Shukracharya how Sharmishta had thrown her into the well. So Shukracharya took Devyani and went to Vrishaparva, King Vrishaparva. King Vrishaparva, realizing that Shukracharya will be angry, he understood what happened. He also heard. So he was afraid that Shukracharya might curse or even just abandon, right, the demons. Then there will be great danger. Uh, so he immediately fell on the feet of Shukracharya begging for forgiveness. And Shukracharya, he uh, he said, because Vrishaparva was begging for forgiveness, he said, I'm not holding anything against what Sharmishta did, but Devyani has a request. You please satisfy her request, her desire, because I cannot give up on Devyani. So then Rishaparva asked Devyani, and Devyani said when she would get married to whoever her father would have her married, Sharmishta, along with all her girlfriends and maids, should go with her as her servant. So, considering that if Shukracharya were displeased, then the demons, asuras, will be in great danger. And if Shukracharya is pacified, if Shukracharya is pleased with them, then they would get material gain. So therefore, just to please Shukracharya, King Vrishaparva and Sharmishta, both of them agreed to Devyani's condition, and then Devyani was married along with Sharmishta to King Yayati. And then King Vrishaparva said, gave a grave instruction to King Yayati that never allow Sharmishta to come onto your bed, nor should you go onto her bed. That means you cannot have, that type of relationship with her. Shukracharya, did I say Vrishaparva? Sorry, Shukracharya. Because Shukracharya is he's Devyani's father. So then King Yayati heard, and Devyani soon had a child from Yayati. Then one day Sharmishta approached King Yayati and requested him that she was also married to Yayati, and according to Dharma, she should also have a child from her husband. So she pleaded with him that she would also like to have a child. And considering what was Dharma, King Yayati felt There was nothing wrong with what Sharmishta said. So just to give her a child, he had sex with her. So I think that's where we stopped yesterday. We'll continue reading from there. What happened after that? So Sharmishta actually gave birth to children. She had 3 sons from King Yayati. Okay, 32. When Princess Sharmishta begged King Yayati for a son, the king was certainly aware of the principles of religion. Of course, he also remembered what Shukracharya had told him, huh? Not to mix with Sharmishta, huh? But still considered, uh, he was aware of the religious principles, and he concluded that this was perfectly according to religious principles. Therefore, he went for it. When Princess Sharmishta begged King Yayati for a son, the king was certainly aware of the principles of religion, and therefore he agreed to fulfill her desire. Although he remembered the warning of Shukracharya, he thought of this union as the desire of the Supreme, and thus he had sex with Sharmishta. Text 33. Do you remember who's supposed to read today? Where did we stop yesterday? We'll just begin from the beginning. I don't remember who's supposed to, and besides this, others are not there also. So Aditi Lata Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
I was just raising my hand to read.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mataji, yesterday I read, but Inva didn't read.
Oh, we have to start with Inba?
Yes, Mataji, I read.
Just you read.
Yes, Mataji. Even Isha read.
Oh, Isha also read, but Inba didn't read.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. We'll just start from the beginning, because then,
Okay, Mataji.
yeah, let's begin. Okay, Arudita, let me read the Sanskrit. यदुं च तुर्वसुं चैव देवयानी व्यजायत द्रुह्युं चानुं च पूरुं च शर्मिष्ठावार्षपर्वणि.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Devyani gave birth to Yadu and Turvasu, and Sharmishta gave birth to Druhu, Anu, and Puru.
Yes. So Devyani, both Devyani and Sharmishta were now, both of them had children from King Yayati. Devyani gave birth to Yadu and Turvasu. So you know who is Yadu? The Yadu dynasty. Hmm? He is the ancestor of Lord Krishna. And Yadu is the son of Devyani. So that is why yesterday when I was telling you, Maharaj was saying, His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj was saying, she was a very, she was an exalted lady. So we should be very careful when we are, talking about the incident. She was not an ordinary woman. So we shouldn't talk like that. That's what Maharaj was saying. So Devyani is the mother of Yadu. That's the point. Devyani gave birth to Yadu and Turvasu. She had 2 sons. And Sharmishta gave birth to Druvyu, Anu, and Puru. So Sharmishta had 3 sons, Druvyu, Anu, and Puru. Devyani had 2 sons. Next. गर्भसम्भवम् आसुर्या भर्तुर्विज्ञायमानिनी देवयानी पितुर्गेहं ययौ क्रोधा विमूर्छिता. Aditi Lata. Aditi Lata Mataji.
My mom can't read it.
Inba.
When the proud Devayani understood from outside sources that Sarmishta was pregnant by her husband, she was frenzied with anger. Thus she departed for her father's house.
So, the way Maharaj explains this is when the proud Devyani understood from outside sources that Sharmishta was pregnant by her husband, actually, not only pregnant, Maharaj said that the children were born and she saw these boys in the palace and they resembled very much King Yayati. And then she asked the boys, very beautiful, charming boys who resembled the king. So she asked them, who's your father? Who's your mother? And they said, our father is King Yayati and mother is Sharmishta. So anyway, here also it is said that when Devyani found out that from outside sources, she understood that Sharmishta is pregnant and uh, she's made pregnant by King Yayati. That means, Devyani became very angry that why Shukracharya told, no, you finished? It's everything. Okay. Why Shukracharya told King Yayati that you should not allow Sharmishta on your bed? This was Devyani's condition. This was her condition. Therefore, Shukracharya told King Yayati that he should observe this. So now when Devyani found out that Sharmishta had children or that she was pregnant uh, from Yayati's, she was going to have children from Yayati, she became very angry, very angry. Uh, Here it is said that she became frenzied, like she literally went mad with anger and she left home. She left home to go to her father's house. When women get angry, they leave to go to their father's house or mother's house. Priyam anugatah kami vachobhir upamantrayan na prasadayitum sheke pada samvahanadivihi. India.
King Yayati, who was very lusty, followed his wife, caught her, and tried to appease her by speaking pleasing words and massaging her feet, but he could not satisfy her by any means.
Yes. So, of course, Yayati was very much attracted to Devayani's beauty, and he couldn't. That Devayani became angry and she was going to leave him and she was going to go to her father's place. He tried to pacify her in so many ways, right? To stop her from leaving. So he even massaged her feet to pacify her. He caught her hand and he tried to appease her by speaking pleasing words, massaging her feet. But in spite of all this, he could not satisfy her. No matter what he did, she was very angry. Shukrastam aha kupitaha strika purusha twam jara vishatam bandha virupa karani nidam. Isha. Or Isha.
Shukracharya was extremely angry. You untruthful fool, lusting after women, you have done a great wrong, he said. I therefore curse you to be attacked and disfigured by old age and invalidity.
Now, Devyani came home and complained to her father, this is what your son-in-law did. Two things here. when Devyani complained to her father, now who is she complaining about? Her own husband, right? She didn't think that by her complaining, Shukracharya will become angry and he can even curse her husband. And who would be at loss if her husband is cursed? Yeah, her. But she didn't think. She just went and she complained because she was very angry herself. But in anger, you cannot think properly. So she just went and she told him. And Shukracharya also, he didn't consider that by cursing his son in law, his daughter would also be put into difficulty. So, what did Shukracharya do? Because King Yayati uh, intimately associated with Sharmishta, right? Because she had children from him. So Shukracharya's anger was, I told you, in spite of my telling you not to do, you promised me that you wouldn't do this and still you did it. Why did you do? Because you couldn't control your lust. That's why you went and, you mingled with Sharmishta and now you have children from her. You have done a great wrong. You are untruthful. You didn't keep your word. And why you are untruthful? Because you are lusting after women. Now, why am at why am I cursing you? I curse you to be attacked and disfigured by old age and invalidity. So Shukracharya's idea was that by cursing uh, Yayati to become old, when one becomes old, then his lusty desires will also go away. But is that a fact? No. Srila Prabhupada tells that once Akbar Badshah, the Mughal Emperor Akbar, asked his minister Birbal, uh, when does one lose his, or up to what age does a man have lusty desires? In other words, when do lusty desires go away from a man? So Birbal said, lusty desires will last up to the point of death. They don't go away. So Akbar could not agree to that. Up to the point of death? No, even when you become old, the body is falling apart. You don't have any capacity to enjoy when you're old. So a man is not lusty. So Birbal wanted to show Akbar practically. So one day he called Akbar. He said, I want to take you somewhere. So he took him to a dying man. He was on a deathbed. And he told Akbar to bring his daughter, young daughter. Young means like a youth. And this man who was on his deathbed, who was about to give up his life, as soon as he saw Akbar along with his daughter, young lady, this old man, dying man, was simply staring at that young lady. When Akbar saw this, he agreed to what Birbal had said. Up to the point of death, lusty desires are there, they don't go away. So, the point to be noted here is Shukracharya is such a learned Brahmana, but still he was also under this illusion, thinking that when a man becomes old and invalid, he loses all his lusty desires. First of all, he thought that King Yayati was lusty, therefore he, he had sex with Sharmishta. That was one mistake. And the second thing is, uh, he's young, therefore out of lust he's doing all this. If I curse him to become old, then he will not have any more lusty desires, right? So then he won't do this. Now who's going to, so his daughter will still be young, Devyani will be young, and her husband is very old and invalid. Already the curse, as soon as Shukracharya cursed him, immediately Yayati became old, trembling, right? His skin is all wrinkled up, very, very old, shaking. As soon as he was cursed by Shukracharya. So what did Shukracharya say? Shukracharya was extremely angry. You untruthful fool, lusting after women. You have done a great wrong, he said. I therefore curse you to be attacked and disfigured by old age and invalidity. Krishna Shish. श्रीययातिरुवाच अतृप्तोऽस्म्यद्य कामानां ब्रह्मन् दुहितरिस्मते व्यत्यस्यतां यथा कामं वयसा योऽभिधास्यति.
Bhagavatam says, O learned worshipper of Brahma, I have not yet satisfied my lusty desires with your daughter. Shukracharya then replied, You may exchange your old age with someone who will agree to transfer his youth to you.
Yeah, Madhava purport.
When King Yayati said that he had not yet satisfied his lusty desires with Shukracharya's daughter, Shukracharya saw that it was against the interests of his own daughter for Yayati to continue in old age and invalidity. For certainly his lusty daughter, his lusty daughter would not be satisfied. Therefore, Shukracharya blessed his son-in-law by saying that he could exchange his old age for someone else's youth. He indicated that if Yayati's son would exchange his youth for Yayati's old age, Yayati could continue to enjoy sex with Devayani.
So here in this verse, Atriptosmi adya kamanam brahman duhitari smate. So Yayati Maharaj is saying, I am still atripta, not yet satisfied. Kamanam, in my, I'm still not satisfied in my enjoyment with your daughter Devyani. So your daughter Devyani is married to me. I am not satisfied, meaning I'm still hankering for her. It's not like I'm done with. No, I mean, you have cursed me to become old, but I have not yet fulfilled all my desires in enjoying with your daughter. So here, Maharaj was saying, His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj was saying, you would never hear. I mean, it's pretty shameless for a son-in-law to tell his father-in-law that I have not enjoyed your daughter sufficiently yet. So, and abruptly you have cursed me to become old. So, even in today's world where people are, quite shameless, right? Everything is spoken openly. Even in today's world, you would not expect, you wouldn't see a son in law telling his father in law, talking to his father in law like this. Then, what to speak of in a Vedic society at that time? So, this was pretty far out for King Yayati to speak like this to Shukracharya. So, that's just a comment. But he said that I have not enjoyed with your daughter sufficiently. And then the next thing is, okay, I am not satisfied yet. And what about your daughter? Right? Your daughter will also be suffering. Uh, your daughter will also be suffering because she will be young. She is still young and I'm old. So what kind of, what kind of benefit are you going to derive by cursing me to become old? You left me with unfulfilled desires, and your daughter also in a difficult situation because she will have an old husband. So immediately Shukracharya realized, oh, what have I done? My daughter will suffer now, right? So not only, so the Shukracharya is thinking, you see in the translation, Srila Prabhupada says, King Yayati said, O learned worshipable Brahmana, I have not yet satisfied my lusty desires with your daughter. So Shukracharya also realized that my daughter, oh, I didn't think about it. So immediately he tried to correct the situation. So he said, all right, I have cursed you to become old, but if anybody is willing to take your old age, then I will make the arrangement to do the transfer. Shukracharya has, he knew the Mrita Sanjeevani mantra. That's why Kacha, the son of Brihaspati, had come to study from him how to revive the dead. So he could also do this, transfer old age from one person to another. Shukracharya could do that. Shukracharya said, you just find someone who is agreeable to take your old age in exchange for his youth. I will do the rest. I will do the transfer. And here Srila Prabhupada is also saying that he was suggesting that one of Yayati's sons could do that. If they agreed, then Shukracharya will make Yayati young again, and his old age would be transferred to his son, who would agree to take his father's old age. So Shukracharya then replied, you may exchange your old age with someone who will agree to transfer his youth to you. Prabhupada says, Shukracharya saw that it was against the interests of his own daughter for Yayati to continue in old age. Not just, oh, he just cursed him to become old today and tomorrow onwards he's going to be young again. No, he will be old and his daughter would have to live with an old husband. This is, so sad for his daughter, for his own daughter. Right? It is against the interests of his own daughter for Yayati to continue in old age and invalidity. For certainly his lusty daughter would not be satisfied. So even his daughter would not be satisfied. He's saying his lusty daughter. So Shukracharya then said that his son-in-law could exchange his old age for someone else's youth, and he also indicated that Yayati's son would exchange his youth for Yayati's old age. Then Yayati could enjoy sex life with Devyani. Text 38, Rasapriya. Iti labdha vyavasthanaha putram jeshtam avochata yado tata pratichhemam jaram dehi nijam vayaha.
When Yayati received this benediction from Secretariat, he requested his eldest son, my dear son Yadu, please give me your youth in exchange for my old age and invalidity.
So you remember from Devyani, Yayati had two sons, Yadu and what is the name of the other son? It's with T. Was that in the purport? Huh? Turvashu. Which one? Number. Tell me the number. When you saw it, you didn't see the number? Okay. Yes, 33. Devyani gave birth to Yadu and Turvasu. And Sharmishta gave birth to Dhruvyu, Anu and Puru. Okay? Yadu and Turvasu. So, the eldest son is Yadu. Yayati's eldest son is Yadu, Turvasu, Dhruvyu, Anu, Puru. All are Uz. Okay? Yadu, Turvasu, Dhruvyu, Anu and Puru. 5 sons. So, King Yayati requested his eldest son Yadu to accept his old age. Okay. When Yayati received this benediction from Shukracharya, he requested his eldest son Yadu, my dear son Yadu, please give me your youth in exchange for my old age and invalidity. That means you become old. You take my old age and I'll become young. Matamaha kritam vatsa na tripto vishayeshvaham vayasa bhavadiyena ramsye katipaya samaha. Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
My dear son, I am not yet satisfied in my sexual desires, but if you are kind to me, you can take the old age given by your maternal grandfather, and I may take your youth so that I may enjoy life for a few years more.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Usha Mataji is the purport, or Medha. Are you able to read? Usha Mataji. Neelambari Mataji, you can read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, give me 5 minutes, Mataji. I'll be back.
Afterwards, so you will come back to you later? After
Yes,
5
Mataji, I'll take the next turn. Yeah.
Neelambari Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Purport.
Purport. This is the nature of lusty desires. In Bhagavad Gita 7:20, it is said, Karmishtair krita jnanaha. When one is too attached to sense gratification, he actually loses his sense. The the word Rita Jnana refers to one who has lost his sense. Here is an example. The father shamelessly asked his son to exchange youth for old age. Of course, the entire world is under such illusion. Therefore, it is said that everyone is pramatta. Pramatta, everyone is pramatta or exclusively mad. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma. When one becomes almost like a madman, he indulges in sex and sense gratification. Sex and sense gratification can be controlled. However, controlled. However, and one achieves perfection when he has no desire for sex. This is possible only when one is fully in Krishna conscious. Should I follow? Should I
Yes,
continue?
yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yadava Yadava hi mama chetah Krishna padarvinde nava rasha dhamni udhyatam rantum ashit tadavadi pata nari shangame
This will be in
shamaya.
a song tune. This will be in
I'm
a
sorry.
song. This will be in a song tune. Right, Mataji?
There is a tune, definitely. I'm lost.
Mataji,
It's
if you
okay.
can hold that tune to her, then she can do it.
Tadava
It's okay.
Tadava Nari Shangame Smarayame Smarayamne Bhavati Mukham Vikaraha Shustu Nishtivanam Cha. Sorry, Mataji.
It's okay. Go ahead, Mata.
Since I have been engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, realizing ever new pleasure in him, whenever I think of sex pleasure, I spit at the thought at my lips and my lips curl with distaste. Sexual desire can be stopped only when one is fully Krishna conscious and not otherwise. As long as one has desire for sex, one must change his body and transmigrate from one body to another to enjoy sex in different species of or forms. But although the forms may differ, the business of sex is the same. Therefore, it is said, Punah Punah Charvita Charvanam. Those who are very much attached to the sex attached to dog sex enjoyment as a
No,
hog.
no.
No,
Those who are
sorry.
too much attached to sex.
Attached to sex transmigrate from one body to another with a same business of chewing the chewed. The testing sex enjoyment as testing sex and enjoyment as a dog, sex enjoyment as a hog, sex enjoyment as a demigod, and so on.
Yes.
Hare
Thank
Krishna
you, Mata.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry, I messed up
No,
the
no,
sloka.
no. That's fine. Thank you. So, Yadu, King Yayati is asking now his own son. He's telling his son, my dear son, Yadu, can you, not can you, yeah, will you please take my old age and give me your youth? And he's also telling the reason, because I'm not yet satisfied uh, enjoying with your mother. So how I will enjoy in with this old body? If you can give me your youth in a young body, I'll be able to enjoy with your mother. Like that, he's telling his son. So that's what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Uh, yeah, so this whole purport is about the sex desire. Huh? So, my dear son, I am not yet satisfied with my sexual desires, but if you are kind to me, you can take the old age given to your maternal grandfather, and I may take your youth so that I may enjoy life for a few years more. So, this lusty desires, it's not that you'll enjoy and then they will become satisfied. They will never become satisfied. Lusty desires, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks a lot about lusty desires. They will burn like fire. Lust burns like fire. The more you satisfy, the bigger it gets. Just like you put ghee into fire. The more ghee you put, is fire going to be satisfied? Okay, now I'm full. Thank you. No more. Now I will go to sleep. No. The more ghee you put, the bigger the fire gets. Lust is like that. The more you satisfy lust, the bigger it gets. There's no question of, okay, now I'm completely satisfied. That's not going to happen. And what happens when one has lusty desires? What does it do to that person's consciousness? That's more important. When one is too attached to sense gratification, he loses his sense. Kamais taistair hrita jnana. Hrita means stolen away. He loses. What does he lose? Jnana. He loses his knowledge or his sense of discrimination. Hrita jnana. He will lose his knowledge, his sense of discrimination. The word hrita jnana refers to one who has lost his sense. Here is an example. The father shamelessly asks his son to exchange youth for old age. Of course, Srila Prabhupada is saying not to just point out at one person. The entire world is being, it's run under this illusion of sense gratification. So everyone in this world is pramattaha. Mattaha means mad. Pramatta means especially mad. Huh? So exclusively mad. Everyone in this world is exclusively mad. When one becomes almost like a madman, he indulges in sex and sense gratification. Nunam pramattaha kurute vikarma. When one becomes pramatta, when one becomes mad, what does he do? He does vikarma. Vikarma means what? Vikarma means activities that are done being impelled by the desire for sense gratification. That is vikarma. Vikarma is all activities that people do. So activities that are done for sense gratification, that is vikarma. That is vikarma. Yeah. With no, you're not following the scriptural guidance, right? So everything, all various types of gadgets and inventions that are coming out, all our cars and planes and roads and factories, everything, all this is vikarma. Because what is the goal of all these activities? Sense gratification. Once Srila Prabhupada was going in some city, I forget which city, maybe it was New York City, but all these big, big skyscraper buildings, right? They were going and, big, big billboards and skyscraper buildings. And Srila Prabhupada looking at the skyscraper buildings is saying, this is all the sex life. Because that is at the heart of all this, show externally. The big, big, big buildings. Why is man doing all this? What is there at the heart of all this, uh, you know, uh, advancement, material advancement? It is sex life. That is the hard knot in the heart for which pramatta, right? A mad person works. So when one becomes almost like a madman, he indulges in sex and sense gratification. Sex and sense gratification can be controlled, but is it so? Can you control this? Yes, that can be controlled when one achieves perfection, when he has no desires for sex, and that's only possible when one is fully Krishna conscious. That's the only way to control permanently, right? To get perfection, where you have conquered the desire for sense gratification and sex life, that is only possible when one is fully Krishna conscious. So here this is Yamunacharya's shloka, where he's saying that earlier he was very much attracted by sex desire, but after tasting the sweetness of Krishna consciousness of bhakti, he's saying, since I have yadavadi mama chetaha Krishna padara vinde navanava rasa dhaman yudyatam rantumasit तदवधि पत नारी संगमे स्मर्यमाने भवति मुख विकारः शुष्टु निष्ठीवनं च. Since I have been engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, realizing ever new pleasure. This is Vishayavini Vartante Niraharasya Dehinaha Rasavarjam Rasopyasya Param Drishtva Nivartate. Param Drishtva Nivartate means when you get a higher taste, then the lower things very easily you can give up. So now nobody in this mad state, that's the highest taste, right? That's the highest taste one can get, sex pleasure. But if you can get something higher than that, then you don't mind giving it up. Very easily you can give it up. Why? In Krishna consciousness, it's that taste is much, much, much higher. So, example is Sri Yamunacharya. He's saying that since I have been engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, realizing ever new pleasure in him. When you're rendering service, at every moment you're experiencing newer and newer pleasure. At that time, whenever I think of sex pleasure, which used to captivate me at one point, now when I look back and I think of sex pleasure, oh, I feel disgusted, right? My lips curl with distaste and I spit at the thought. I spit at the thought of sex pleasure because now I'm getting so much pleasure in Krishna consciousness. I think about sex life and I get disgusted. So, what is driving the whole world crazy can be given up by one who becomes fully Krishna conscious. Very easily, it can be given up by becoming fully Krishna conscious. So, sexual desire can be stopped only when one is fully Krishna conscious and not otherwise, not by any other method. You cannot stop it. So, we saw that also in the sixth chapter, beginning of sixth canto, beginning of sixth canto, we see it's like for the time being, you may control your desires, but it looks like you have controlled them, but the desire is there in the heart. Just like when you burn bamboo, the shoots on top are all burned, and then it appears like the field is clear, everything is cleared, but the roots are still there underground. And after some time, when it rains, once again the shoots come back. So by other processes, by jnana or all these other processes, when you try to control your sex desires, it appears like for now you don't have any desires, but deep down the seed is still there. When an appropriate situation comes, favorable situation comes, once again they will grow back. But if you become Krishna conscious, they'll be completely finished up to the root, right? They're uprooted completely, finished. Example, Haridas Thakur, right? 2 times. First time is that prostitute sent by Ramachandra Khan. She became a devotee, started chanting like Haridas Thakur just in a matter of 3 days. And the second time, Maya Devi herself, Maya Devi, the material energy of Krishna herself comes in the form of a beautiful woman to seduce Haridas Thakur. And in the dead of night, she comes and she's doing all these various postures, which any man, however self-controlled he may be, he would immediately fall for her. This is Maya Devi. This is not just, one person. It's not just like a little bit of energy of Maya Devi herself with all her potency standing in front of Haridas Thakur trying to seduce him. And Haridas Thakur's consciousness does not budge an inch, is completely tasting the sweetness of the Mahamantra, the holy name. So that is why when you get the higher taste, when you are able to taste the sweetness of bhakti, only then is your desire for sex pleasure uprooted completely, not otherwise. So that's what Srila Prabhupada is saying here in this purport, giving the example of Yamunacharya Sloka. Sexual desire cannot be stopped, can be stopped only when one is fully Krishna conscious and not otherwise. As long as one has desires for sex, and then, okay, what will happen if you have sex desire? It means you will have to change your body and transmigrate from one body to another. Why? so that you can enjoy sex life again in different species, in different ways. If that is, if your mind is stuck on that, how you want to get pleasure out of that, then you would try all different ways. Srila Prabhupada is saying you will keep changing bodies so that you can enjoy sex pleasure, sometimes in a dog's body, sometimes in a hog's body, sometimes in a demigod's body. Actually, the pleasure is the same. It's like you eat rice in a steel plate or a gold plate or a leaf plate. The taste is the same, right? The taste of rice dal will be the same. It doesn't matter in which plate you eat. Similarly, you do it in a demigod's body or a dog's body or a hog's body or a human being's body or Indian body or American body, the pleasure is still the same, right? The pleasure of satisfying hunger is the same. Similarly, the pleasure of sex is the same in whichever body, animal body or demigod body or human body. But under ignorance, we think that if I get this body, then I'll get a better pleasure, right? There's no better pleasure. It's the same pleasure. But under ignorance, kamais taister hritagyana, he loses his sense, and then uh, he runs after this pleasure, and for that he keeps changing his body one after another, sometimes as a dog, sometimes as a hog, sometimes as a demigod, just to enjoy that pleasure, thinking that he'll get different types of pleasure. But the business of sex is the same. Although the forms may differ, the business is the same. So King Yayati is asking his son Yadu, if you are kind to me, you can exchange your youth with me, because my desires for sense gratification are not yet satisfied like that. So if you give me your youth, I can enjoy for some more time, for a longer time. So we can stop reading Srimad Bhagavatam here today. Sonia Mataji read, right? No, Nilambari Radha Mataji read. Yeah. So let's see tomorrow, depending on who are there. But we'll just remember that Nilambari Mataji read, and if Usha Mataji is there in the morning, she can read. And then after Usha Mataji, Meda will go to Narsimlila Chaitan Prabhu if they are there. Okay? I'll just remember that Nilambari Mataji read last. Okay, next let's read Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 1. The different conches are being blown. Please repeat. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthiraha Nakulaha Sahadevascha Sughosha Mani Pushpakau Kashyascha Parameshwasaha Shikhandi Cha Maharatha Drishtadyumno Viratascha Satyakischa Parajitaha Drupado Draupadeyascha Sarvashaha Prithivipate Saubhadrascha Mahabahu Shankhan Dadmuh Prithak Prithak. King Yudhishthir, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakul and Sahadev blew the Sughosha and Mani Pushpaka. That great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. So first of all, Lord Krishna and Arjun blew their conch shells. You remember the name of Krishna's conch shell? Panchajanya. And Arjuna's? Devadatta. And Bhimsen's? Poundra. And now we read Yudhishthir Maharaja's? Ananta Vijaya. Nakul Sahadev? Sugosha and Manipushpaka. Like this. And then all the other warriors on the Pandava side, Satyaki, Shikhandi, Drupada, Drishtadyumna, Draupadi's sons, Subhadra's son. Who's Subhadra's son? Abhimanyu. So everyone blew their respective conch shells after Krishna and Arjun blew their transcendental conch shells. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. So for these verses from 14 to 18, all the different conches being blown, there is no commentary given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Sanjaya informed King Dhritarashtra very tactfully that his unwise policy of deceiving the sons of Pandu and endeavoring to enthrone his own sons on the seat of the kingdom was not very laudable. The signs already clearly indicated that the whole Kuru dynasty would be killed in that great battle. So, from the signs, it was clear that the entire Kuru dynasty was going to be wiped out in that great battle. Beginning with the grandsire Bhishma down to the grandsons like Abhimanyu and others, including kings from many states of the world, all were present there and all were doomed. The whole catastrophe was due to King Dhritarashtra because he encouraged the policy followed by his sons. So, Sanjay is telling, right? So he's saying who blew which conch shell. So by giving the names of all these warriors, great fighters who blew their conch shells, what was the message that Sanjay was giving to Dhritarashtra Maharaj very tactfully? That because of your unwise policy, what is the policy of Dhritarashtra Maharaj? To cheat the Pandavas, take their kingdom, and make his own son the ruler. So because of Dhritarashtra Maharaj's unwise policy, all great warriors, in fact the entire Kuru dynasty was going to be killed, was going to be finished. So that was the message that uh, uh, that was the message that Sanjay was giving to Dhritarashtra. So now let's read Srila Prabhupada's Leela Amrita. Tomorrow we'll go to text 19. Srila Prabhupada's Leela Amrita. Okay, continuation. So, remember, we were reading about this restaurant where everybody was welcome. They could just go and sit all day. And so, two people, one was Harvey Cohen and Bill Epstein. Harvey attended Srila Prabhupada's lecture. So he came to this restaurant called Paradox and he told Bill and his other friends about Srila Prabhupada. Bill, I was working at the Paradox one night when Harvey came to me and said, I went to visit Mishra and there's a new Swami there and he's really fantastic. Well, I was involved in macrobiotics and Buddhism, so at first I couldn't care less. But Harvey was a winning and warm personality, and he seemed interested in this. He said, why don't you come uptown? I would like you to see this. So I went to one of the lectures on 72nd Street. I walked in there, and I could feel a certain presence from the Swami. He had a certain very concentrated, intense appearance. He looked pale and kind of weak. I guess he had just come here and he had been through a lot of things. He was sitting there chanting on his beads, which he carried in a little bead bag. One of Dr. Mishra's students was talking, and he finally got around to introducing the Swami. He said, "We are the moons to the Swami's sun." He introduced him in that way. The Swami got up and talked. I didn't know what to think about it. At that time, the only steps I had taken in regard to Indian teaching were through Ramakrishna, but this was the first time, to my knowledge, that Bhakti religion had come to America. Bill Epstein, quite in contrast to Robert Nelson, was a dashing, romantic person with long, wavy, dark hair and a beard. He was good looking and effervescent and took upon himself a role of informing people at the restaurant of the city's spiritual news. Once he became interested in the new Swami, he made the Swami an ongoing topic of conversation at the restaurant. Bill, I went in the back and I asked Richard, the manager, I'm going to take some food to the Swami. You don't mind, do you? He said, no, take anything you want. So I took some brown rice and other stuff and I brought it up there. I went upstairs and I knocked on the door and there was no answer. I knocked again and I saw that the light was on because it had a glass panel, and finally he answered. I was really scared because I had never really accepted any teacher. He said, come in, sit down. We started talking, and he said to me, the first thing that people do when they meet is to show each other love. They exchange names, they exchange something to eat. So he gave me a slice of apple and he showed me the tape recorder he had, probably for recording his chants. Then he said, have you ever chanted? I said, no, I haven't chanted before. So he played a chant and then he spoke to me some more. He said, you must come back. I said, well, if I come back, I'll bring you some more food. Okay, so that was about Bill. We'll read about James the next time, tomorrow. So we will stop reading here. Okay. Thank you all very much, dear devotees.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.